Hi, I'm Harika Nalam. This is my short story assignment for the course CMP 297, and my topic is deep neural network using computer vision. And I have taken the reference from the research paper where the it gives an idea of the performance analysis of the deep neural network using the computer vision. So I would like to give the more information about the deep neural network using the computer vision and its steps, and which I have done this presentation. Uh, so. Um, so this is my table of contents for the for today's presentation. Uh, so um, so let's first start with what is neural network. A neural network is a method in artificial intelligence that teaches the computers to process in a way that it is inspired by the human brain. It is a type of machine learning process called deep learning that uses the interconnected nodes of the neurons in a layer structure that resembles the human brain. It creates an adaptive system that computers use to learn from their mistakes and the improve continuously. So, uh, let's understand why are neural networks important. So neural networks can help the computers make intelligent decisions with limited human assistance. This is because they can learn and model the relationships between the input and the output that are non-linear and complex. For instance, they can do the following task. So to make a generalization and the inference. So neural network can understand the unstructured data and make the general observations without explicit training. For instance, they can recognize the two different input sentences have the similar meaning. So, for an example, here I'm taking a sentence. The first sentence is, "Can you tell me how to make the payment?" And the next sentence, which I'm taking, which gives a meaning similar to this, but it is framed in a different way. How do I transfer money? So the neural network identifies these two sentences have the same meaning uh, by using its architecture. So now let's understand what is neural network architecture. So a basic neural network has interconnected artificial neurons in these layers. So what are the layers which the architecture has is the input layer, hidden layer, and the output layer. So the input layer, information from the outside world enters the artificial neural network from the input layer. Input nodes process the data, analyze or categorize it, and pass it on to the next layer. So next layer is in the architecture is a hidden layer. Hidden layers take their input from the input layers or the other hidden layers, and neural networks can have a large number of the hidden layers. And each hidden layer analyzes the output from the previous layer and process it further and passes it on to the next layer. So the final layer in the architecture is the output layer. The output layer gives the final result of all the data processing of the neural network, and it can have a single or the multiple nodes. For instance, for an example, so if we have a binary classification like a yes or no, like the class 1 or class B. So the output layer will have an output node which will give the result as 1 or 0, which says if it's a class 1, it gives a 1, and if it's not a class 1, it gives 0, which means it's a class 2. However, if we have a multi-class classification problem, the output layer might contrast of more than one output nodes. So let's understand what is the neural network is used for. Like what are the applications for it? So neural networks have these several use cases across many industries, like in the medical field, where the medical image classification and uh, and the other one, it could be the in the market field, like the shopping cart or the socialization and the chemical compound identification. And the other one can be the processing the historic data of the financial instruments, or like anything which is processing the already existing data. So next, let's understand what does deep neural network mean then. A neural network with several hidden layers makes it a deep neural network. Deep neural network or the deep learning networks have the several hidden layers with millions of neurons linked together. So as you can see in the image here, this is the neural network and this is deep neural network where it has many hidden layers compared to the neural network. As we are a topic which says that it's using the computer vision, so as a next we'll understand what is computer vision. Computer vision is the ability of the computers to extract information and insights from the images and videos. With neural networks, computers can distinguish and recognize images similar to humans. And computer vision has several applications um, such as speech recognition. Neural networks can analyze human speech despite varying the speech patterns and the pitch, tone, language, and also the accent. Virtual assistants like the Amazon Alexa is one of the example for speech recognition. The next one is the natural language processing, the next use case where the computer vision is used. Natural language processing is an ability to process the natural human created text. And neural networks help computers gather insights and meaning from the text data and documents. And the other use case is the recommendation engines. And neural networks can track users' activity to develop personalized recommendations. They can also analyze all user behavior and discover new products or services that interest a specific user. So here we have completed the definitions about got an idea about the computer vision and the deep neural network. So in the research paper, um, I have taken the reference has taken the classification model to explain the each and every step in the deep neural network. So here the classification model is used and the image data and the data set is used is ImageNet. So, if you were to train a deep learning model to see the difference between the dogs and cats using the feature engineering, we need the characteristics of billions of cats and images that live on this planet, and we cannot construct accurate features that will work for each possible image while considering such complications. So we considered on other approach to learn features that is neural network. So neural network learn features directly from the data with which they are trained. So we don't need to extract features manually. So the power of the neural networks comes from their ability to learn the representation in the training data and how can it best relate to it and relate to the output variable that it want to predict. And the output variable here is done in the example we have taken is an cat or the dog classification. Dividing the data given input into a class or dog or cat class. So the training data in this case is a large data set that contains many examples of each image class. The dataset used is the ImageNet dataset contains more than 14 million human labeled images. So each image is labeled with a category it belongs to the um, in one of the classes that is cat or dog, and the algorithm explores these examples, learns about the visual characteristics of each category, and eventually learn how to recognize each image class. This model training style is called a supervised learning, and each layer of the nodes trains on the output features set produced by the previous layers. So the nodes in each successive layer can recognize more complex detailed features and it is known as the feature hierarchy. So what it says is that the input and the hidden layer and the output layer. So each the output of the one layer is given as the input of the other layer, which actually extracts the more features which are already more more extra features which are already extracted in the before layer. So this is called the hierarchy, which actually builds all these features then at each and every layer. So this is one of the example which was given in the research paper. So now let's understand what are the categories of deep neural networks. So these are some of the categories of the deep neural networks. The first one is deep convolution neural network. This network has an 8-layer topology. The first 5 layers are convolutional and the final 3 layers are connected. Deep convolution neural networks are based on the supervised learning techniques, and hence large amount of labeled data are required for the proper learning. So the next category is deep belief network. In this network, RBM architecture has a link that connects the visible and unseen levels in both the directions. So this function allows the data for allows the weights which can be act as an feedback to the next layer, and the layer which helps in passing the accurate data to the next layer. And the next category is the convolution deep belief network. It consists of convolutional restricted Boltzmann emissions. The layer-wise training is used for training the model, and weights of the layers used as the feedback for subsequent layers. And the last category is the multi-column deep neural network. In this, the column of different neural networks placed one on top of the other, and ReLU is used as a distinct rectification layer implementation. Now, after we understand now let's understand what are the what are the what are the training and the development of deep neural networks. So, what are the steps involved in it? As a first step, we have to identify the appropriate deep learning function. So, the goal of this function is to add the non-linear aspects to the model, which helps the model to learn, predict better on the unseen data. So, the next one is the selective framework. Select an accessible, user-friendly framework is important, like PyTorch and TensorFlow, which helps in importing libraries and training the model. And the third step is prepare training data for neural network. Input data for the neural network requires many photos for training. So if the images are self-produced and labeled, they must be labeled manually. And moreover, many image data sets are open source, which can be used for training the model. And the next step is to train and validate the neural network. To recognize a new feature, a neural network that has already been trained to extract features merely needs a spread set of images. It is possible to spread up this process by using it again for another assignment. So that the training and the deployment process are greatly added by the transfer of the knowledge or the usage of the network that has already been taught. So, and the final stage is to deploy this neural network and run the inference on the new data. So, for the successful deployment and getting the perfect prediction on the new data, we have two tasks to complete. Two tasks which has to be monitored in this step. So, the first task is to give our model the input it needs and provide the end user with a useful output is our second duty. These are some of the important steps which has to be followed for training and development of the deep neural network. And the next is some applications of this deep neural network using the above steps which have been explained in the before slide. So, are some of the applications which are the logo detection in the social media analytics, which is an important because any brand which has been seen on the images or the video streaming are identified using the deep neural network, and this can be used for further analysis and further um, 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 for the videos for the video streaming video streaming and the YouTube or any other video streaming platforms. The other is in medical image analysis is one of the important application of the deep neural network, where like for an example, if there is uh, mm, cancer detection using the images like the lung cancer using the medical images is one of the important application, and then the other one is an apps for recognizing artworks. This is one of the this is also an important application of the deep neural network, which has been introduced in the early times, and the facial recognition to improve the airport experience. This is one of the security application of the deep neural network, where facial recognitions, where the terrorists or any facial any people with are identified like identified using this facial recognition and visual product search on the Google search. These are some of the important applications of the neural network, deep neural network. And this study includes uh, after this explanation about the with the help of the reference from the research paper, um, this study includes a wide range of computer-based applications such as machine translations and picture identification, and deep learning networks are emerged as a result of rising the computing capacity on the mobile hardware, and this compress a large variety of computer applications from the image recognition and machine translation to enhanced learning. And the primary goal of this work is to investigate each step-by-step process to build a deep neural networks. In this work, a benchmark suit has been proposed for the training and deployment of a deep neural network. Thank you.